The inevitable Musk mess came to a head late last week. According to reporting in the Times, Secretary of State and Transportation Secretaries Marco Rubio and Sean Duffy, respectively, pushed back in a closed-door cabinet meeting with Musk, saying that his ill-thought and reckless cuts to their agencies were causing havoc, only magnified by the fact that he and his Doge bros neither understood nor communicated their slash and burn agenda. Now, while this was all completely predictable, what stood out to me was another takeaway. Elon didn't limit his unauthorized purge to those two agencies, far from it. But in that meeting, while every secretary shared both the outrage and confusion over an unelected third party making seismic, uninformed decisions without even the courtesy of a notification, Rubio and Duffy reportedly were the only two lonely voices that spoke up. The pervasive silence was part of a growing reality in and outside of the Capitol: fear of retribution. In the past week, university presidents livid over Trump's decision to withhold $400 million in grants and contracts for Columbia University as a form of partisan penalty, they bit their tongues, fearing that they might be next if they spoke their mind. Republicans on Capitol Hill, who've consistently been Ukraine's biggest supporters, have stayed mum as Trump has eviscerated our long-standing defense of an ally and instead embraced Putin. They witnessed the obscene dressing down that he gave Zelensky on live TV in the Oval Office, and with limited exceptions, defended the indefensible. Reportedly, behind the scenes, GOP senators and representatives were horrified, but either ran for microphones or reinvented their positions to suit Trump's. CEOs, seeing the idiocy of the tariffs and then a week of flip-flopping that only produced market sell-offs and uncertainty, mostly swallowed hard even as their industries suffered avoidable harm and were left with more questions than answers about what happens next. All these constituencies and so many more have deep reservations but share a collective fear of reprisal. Critics have found that death threats and even promises of retribution courtesy of a weaponized Department of Justice now go hand in hand with exercising First Amendment rights of criticism. Republicans learned firsthand the perils of speaking their mind. Trump's first-term team, most notably Vice President Mike Pence, were infamously targeted for hanging for not supporting his boss's attempted coup. More recently, GOP senators who waffled on Trump's unqualified nominees were first threatened with a Musk-funded primary challenge and then targeted with potential violence from MAGA world with tacit support from the man in the Oval Office himself. Democrats, with friends across the aisle, swear that it is fear of violence for them and their families from Trump supporters that prevented more GOP electeds from voting their conscience and for impeachment after January 6th. The votes were there. But this even extends to my world. The Washington Post and the LA Times both capitulated and dialed back endorsements and criticism of Trump for fear of compromising their owners' government contracts. ABC News and 60 Minutes both inexplicably settled frivolous suits with Trump so not as to tempt unfavorable regulation from an FCC that suddenly is a political weapon. This political and corporate calculation is fraught with danger. Trump reads these moral concessions for what they are: weakness. Now, if these Republican lawmakers and the other stakeholders think that Trump won't keep coming for more and more, they have not been paying attention. This is how authoritarianism starts. When co-equal branches cede their powers to a single leader, when the media couches their coverage for fear of reprisals, when the party in power puts political survival before country. This is what dictators need and crave. The public, as polling confirms, is not buying what Trump is selling. So let's hope the institutions can speak truth to power, because a democracy depends on it.